Institute in the Ministry of Education. Thank you for being here this afternoon and joining us in the lecture, which is going to be presented by Professor Cheng Yon Chong. Today, we are pleased to welcome you, Professor. Professor Cheng is a very special guest from University of Hong Kong. He's Emeritus Professor in Education from the Education University of Hong Kong. Professor Cheng is also Senior Research Fellow of Education University Hong Kong, Asia Pacific Center for Leadership and Change. Previously, Professor Cheng had served as advisor, academic development, research chair professor, vice president, acting president. He had been elected as the president of World Educational Research Association from 2012 to 2014 and the Asia Pacific Educational Research Association 2004 to 2008. He had served as a full member of the University Grants Committee, a panel member of Research Grants Council, and a member of the Quality Education Fund Steering Committee of the Hong Kong SAR government. Currently, Professor Cheng is the chairman of the Tin Ka Peng Foundation's Advisory Council. Professor Cheng holds a doctorate from Harvard University. His research interest includes education reforms, leadership development, paradigm shift, teacher education, higher education, and school management. Professor Cheng has published 24 academic books and over 250 book chapters and journal articles in different countries around the world. Professor Cheng also has won a number of international awards and recognition, including the Awards for Excellence from the Literary Network in UK from 1995 to 2017. In 2008, he was awarded as the Fellow of the Asia Pacific Educational Research Association in recognition of his excellent contribution to educational research in the region. Professor Cheng has very fruitful experiences in organizing and conducting leadership development programs, seminars, and workshops for local and international principals and educational leaders, particularly to implement educational reforms in the past decades. Of course, you agree with me that Professor Yin Chong is a very special gift, and today he will be sharing with us his expert opinion on what influences the future of education, impacts and implications. Given the huge impacts from global trends and competitions, adapting to new situations. With that, I ask you, Dr. Cheng, to give to share with us your expert opinion on the future trends of education, and our respectful audience, please welcome me to give Professor Cheng our full attention to listen to his richness and to his thorough experience. Welcome again, Professor Cheng. Yes. Yeah. I hope that was like it's a short introduction to your rich experience, Professor Cheng. Welcome me in introducing and welcoming you to our webinar today.
Okay. Thank you very much, Director Yiling. I feel very excited to be here to have such an opportunity discuss the future of education with all of you. Very exciting opportunity to me. You see that. Before my presentation, I would like to present a bundle of flowers to all of you, welcome you, and also express my sincere thanks to the NOE's invitation, to me. Thank you very much. Very warm gathering. This is one of my watercolor paintings. painted in 1975, long time ago. You see that. I hope you like it. Yeah. I like watercolor painting very much. I hope you like it. Okay. Let me start the presentation. Now, in my lecture, there are two aims. The first one, I will map out a big picture of what are influencing the future of education globally and locally. What happened, in the past year and ongoing and in coming years, what influenced our education. This is the first aim. The second aim is that from the big picture, I want to highlight the key impact and implication for redesigning the future of learning system in school. Their impact, their implication, how we should redesign our learning system, in school. In an era of global transformation and pandemic, in such a difficult time during pandemic, the global transformation is ongoing. What we should do, this is there are two aims. In my lecture, I will highlight some crucial factor influencing our school education or our education system, including multi-disruption from the pandemic and other coming disaster. We don't know in the coming year whether we will have pandemic again or not, but at least we need to prepare such a happening. And also I will highlight the global trend of education and its reform, what impact on our school education system. And also I will discuss the multiple development of globalization. Globalization is not only for technology, for economy, but also for social, political, cultural, and learning, What about the technology? Technology is making a lot of breakthrough, We can use the technology advances to change our education system. This is the fourth one. And also, there are a lot of international competition. What impact on our school system? And also, there's strong demand for local and personal development too. What happened of this strong demand on our learning, teaching, and also curriculum? You see that. These are some crucial factors. They have impact and challenge, on our education system. It means that to respond to these factors, we need to make reform. I propose there are 4A reform, aiming at the first thing. We hope to have a new set of student quality and capacity for the future. It means that the student outcome, the student quality, what are the new quality, new capacity, such that they can have a better future in development, And also we need to know whether we can have a new theory, a new paradigm of learning, teaching, and pedagogy, such that we can have the highest effectiveness, in teaching and learning. You see that. This is related to the theory. The first one related to the quality. And the third one related to the learning environment, the learning tool. It is ecosystem. Whether we can create a new learning ecosystem based on new technology. We can use the technology to create a learning ecosystem such that we can learn faster, we can teach better, pursue the new theory. And the fourth one is a new spectrum of multifunction of school education, of the futures of education. Because school education serves a lot, some important purpose. We will discuss. It means that under the impact of crucial factors, we need to reflect on our ongoing reform, whether we can achieve 4A, new set of student quality, new paradigm, new theory of learning, teaching and pedagogy, and also new learning ecosystem. By what way, by what approach, by what technology we can learn better, and also a new spectrum or multifunction of school education. Today, in this lecture, we will discuss how and why to pursue these 4 reforms. Okay, you follow the speech, okay? Is it okay? The pace and also the sound is okay to you all?
Yes, everything is clear.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
Make sure, because I can't see the participant and also the audience, you know. Hopefully you can hear clearly. Okay. If you have any feedback, please tell me. Okay, now this is the whole picture of the lecture. I will do it step by step. Now, this is a picture from the WHO, the World Health Organization. You know, showing the breakthrough, you know, the spread of the pandemic to different corner or different area of the world, right? You see that nearly every country has been affected by the COVID-19. Now, with this pandemic, we can see some global syndrome happening, you know, including the locking down major activities, the transportation, economic activity, production activities, you know, locking down. City closure, economic recession, huge number of unemployment. This is a big problem to the society, you know. And also the business, most of them closed down, culture and racial conflict happening. You see that. And also political conflict, international tension happening. All these global syndrome creating disruption to our education system. Challenge, impact. What kind of challenge and impact created, you know, including the technological disruption. There are many technological gaps when we implement new online learning from the face-to-face learning to online learning. We have the technology gap. We don't know how to do it, you know. Economic gap, economic disruption, social, political, cultural, and learning disruption. All kinds of you know, disruption influence our education system. And also from this disruption, we would like to know what implication, you know, how can our school and students meet the challenge? You know, there are many disruption. How can our school and students meet the challenge? And also we address the multiple disruption in the future, not only this time, and also in the coming year, maybe we have other type of pandemic. You see that? How can our student, our school system to deal with these problems? So, and also the 1 minute. And also, what kind of future education we should have after the pandemic, globally and locally? What kind of education we need, you know, in coming years? This is the concern from the first factor. We have the second factor, also very important, the global expansion of higher education. It influences not only higher education, but also school education, primary school, secondary school. This global expansion of higher education become the largest driver of future education. Why? Let me explain a little bit in detail by the UNESCO data. Now, this picture comes from the UNESCO. The x-axis representing the years 1970, 1975 to 2007, representing year. The y-axis representing the number of students in million. Now you can see that it seems to be a big wave, a tsunami across years. When moved from the 1970 to 2007, the number of tertiary students increasing very quickly. From 1997 to 2007, just 10 years, the number jumped from 85 million to 150 million, representing 76% increase. In 2011, the jump, representing 114% increase. The number is 182 million. It means that the number of high education students increasing very, very quickly. A lot of implication behind. Let me use a comparison to show the problem. According to OECD projection, the need for higher education students in 2030 will be 410 million. Now, if you use this picture to illustrate the problem, now this is the tsunami we call, just as in the last slide, But now when you compare with the projection, this is a small wave. This is the tsunami. It becomes very, very huge increase. Now, the problem to us is that with such a huge increase in student number, university student number, what impact, what challenge to us, to education system, and also to the future of our student and the society? What happened to our student? When they graduate from secondary school or from university, what happened to them? Maybe you think, wow, so many students going into the job market to find a suitable job, very difficult, because there's so many highly educated students there. You see that there will be a lot of competition in the job market and also in economic development. And also you can see that when our students compete with other students, what kind of qualities of graduate will be most competitive? It means that what kind of student our student should have, in what way, such that they become more competitive in the market. And the third one, why innovation is so crucial. It means that if we think further, in such a large number of higher education students, a lot of competition. During the competition, what kind of quality of our graduate will be more competitive, will be better, I think related to the innovation, creativity, and thinking skill. It means that the implication for future education is that we need to groom our student competitive, creative, and innovative edge in the global competition. There are a lot of competition. Our student has the edge, cutting edge, in the area of competition, creativity, and innovation, such that our student can add value, create value, to the job, to the society. It means that they have the capacity or being value added and value created. And also they can they have the creativity and multiple thinking during the development process. Why creativity and multiple thinking is so important? Let me illustrate the concept. It means that our students, if they have the creativity and multiple thinking, such that they become creative, because that they can create new ideas, such that they are creative. They are innovative because that they can generate new application. You know, based on the new idea, they can generate new application. And also our students can be entrepreneurial. It means that they can not only create new idea, new application, they can also create new business. You know, such that our economy, our society development can be benefit from the new business. You know. Now, this is the related. How the question to us is that how we can promote student creativity and multiple thinking. Here I propose that if we want to promote creativity and multiple thinking, I think we need to use the action learning. Let me use the picture to illustrate. Every student have his or her mindset. With this mindset, they plan the action. With this action, they generate result. You know, and then they have the feedback to the action. They can understand whether the action need improvement or not. You know, if they can improve the action such that they can change the skill, you can see that this is a learning cycle. Action, result, and feedback to improve the action. This is the lower level learning. Change the skill. We can have a higher level learning. You know, some students can learn to change the action, but at the same time they can learn to change the mindset with the feedback, such that they have a higher level learning, change in thinking. It means that if we want to promote thinking, promote creativity, we need higher level thinking, higher level learning. You see that, such that they can enhance their knowledge, thinking skill, and also creativity. This is the double root learning. This is the first root to change the behavior, and also this is the second root to change the mindset and start the action again. Through many cycles of learning, they can gradually to enhance the skill and behavior. At the same time, they can change the mindset to enhance the creativity and thinking ability. I think this is the way we enhance the quality of our students. You see that. Maybe we can reflect on our daily teaching practice, learning practice, whether we can help our students to enhance not only single first group learning, but also the second group learning. I hope this action learning will be helpful to our teacher too. Okay, the first factor related to the multiple development in globalization as a driver. In globalization, we have not only technological change, technological development, economic development, but also social development, political development, cultural development, and learning development. You see that multiple aspects of development. If so, maybe we need to think about our student is not a single prepared person. They are multiple person. It means that they should be technological person. they know how to use the technology. To use the technology, become more effective, save time, save energy, do it faster. And also they can be economic person. They know how to enhance the efficiency, effectiveness with minimal resources. They are social person, have a good relationship with other people, and also the EQ is better. They are political person. They know the authority. They respect law, and also the right and responsibility. They are cultural person, learning person. They know how to learn. It means that our students are multiple person. Our school education should facilitate our students to develop multiple intelligence. This is a special kind of intelligence, contextualized multiple intelligence related to the multiple development in globalization. They should have technological intelligence, economic intelligence, social, political, cultural, and learning intelligence, such that even though there are many challenges from the multiple development and also the destruction and or other disaster, they can remain sustainably effective for multiple development against multiple destruction in the new era. It means that there are a lot of challenge. It doesn't matter. Our students have the multiple intelligence, contextualized CMI, multiples have the CMI, such that they can remain, sustainable effectiveness in the future development. This is the basic idea, we need. Okay, how we can develop this contextualized multiple intelligence? This is the core part of our discussion. Here I propose a theory, a Pentagon theory of learning that may be used to develop CMI and creativity. Now this is the Pentagon. You see that there are 3 steps. The first step, we need to develop our students each type of intelligence, each type of CMI, technological intelligence, economic intelligence, political, cultural, and social intelligence. When we check our curriculum, we ask ourselves, educators, whether we have opportunity, resources, and program to promote our students different type of CMI. This is the first question. The second question is that the learning intelligence as a core part of learning how to learn. If we can enhance learning intelligence, our students can accelerate the development of technological intelligence, economic, other type of intelligence. If their learning intelligence is better, they know how to learn, they can accelerate other type of intelligence. This is the second part. The third part, I think, more and more important than the first and second. The third part more important. Why? Let me show you. If our student can transfer the thinking from the technological domain to the social domain or to the economic domain or other domain, it becomes a kind of creativity, thinking transfer. It means that they transfer the economic thinking to political, to learning, to technology. This is this is also thinking transfer. It's important to let our students to transfer the thinking across domain, across boxes. The definition of creativity, the traditional one, the common definition is that thinking jump out of the box. It means that the thinking out of the box, this is the creativity. Now, if our students thinking not only out of one box, they can jump between boxes. They can create different kind of possibility. This different kind of method. You know, opportunity to develop, to solve the problem, to tackle the issue. You see that. This is the reason why the third one, thinking transfer, is crucial. Help our students to transfer. If they have a good technology, good technological skill, method, idea, if they can transfer the technological product, action into economic domain, it make money from the technology, make business from the technology, and then you know, use the economic method approach to further disseminate the technology idea. You know, this is a very important development from technology to create economic benefit for themselves and also for the society. And also we can use the technology to create social contribution, social benefit to the community, to the world, or to themselves. You see that? To enhance the human relationship. Similarly, our students should be facilitated to transfer the thinking across different domains. The question to us is that in our curriculum, in our teaching and learning, whether we are really doing a good job to facilitate student thinking transfer. This is a hard question we need to answer, you know, related to Pentagon theory. And also we need to think about what level of thinking, what level of creativity we should pursue. There are 4 levels of creativity and thinking. Even though in the learning activity, we can pursue the first order creativity and thinking, including the data. It means that in the learning activity, we find out some data, you know, some information. This is important, but not so important as the level 3, create new knowledge. If our student can generate new knowledge from the new information and new data, it's very important. You see that? And also our student can generate the new idea and the new theory from the new knowledge, from the new information and new data is the most important. The question to us is that whether we can position our future education at a higher level. Not only ask students to collect data or information, we need to ask our students whether they can find out new pattern of relationship between factors, whether they can find out some argument, new argument, a new explanation. You know, this is important. It means that the creativity and thinking in the learning process, we should promote the learning and thinking, from the lower level to a higher level. High level creativity and thinking involve 4 levels. The lower level creativity and learning just involve data and information. It's not a surprise in some learning activity. Our students collect a lot of data from the internet, from the website. They collect a lot of information and data, but unfortunately, they are unable to generate new knowledge and new theory from the information and the data. It means that in our teaching method, we need to think how we can help our students to jump up this hierarchy. You know, this is we need to pay attention. The 4th one, the paradigm shift in education. This is also my painting. I hope you like it. It's a tree. Okay. Now, the 4th factor related to paradigm shift. It means that in the past 20 years, people, educator, a scholar, researcher, policymaker, they found out we need paradigm shift in education. We change the mindset, change the model of thinking about education, about the learning. Let me illustrate further. Paradigm shift in learning. We need to promote from the traditional site-bound paradigm towards new CMI typization paradigm. This is the traditional way, site-bounded, face-to-face learning, But the new CMI and typization paradigm is a new paradigm. Do you know the term typization? Do you know? No, you should not know. This is a new word created by me, representing the integration of globalization, localization, and individualization in learning. It means that in the learning process, there will be globalization, localization, and individualization, such that our students have unlimited opportunity to learn, to develop the CMI. Let me use a table to show the difference between traditional and new paradigm. Now, in the traditional learning, it is a kind of reproduced learning. We try to reproduce something. Teacher is the follower of student. Learner is the follower of teacher. It means that they just follow the teacher's model. They receive a standard program. Every student has nearly the same program. Absorbing knowledge, learning is to absorb knowledge. Learning is a receiving process. Receive the knowledge. The focus of learning is on how to gain knowledge. The driving force is external rewarding. Now, this is the traditional model. But in the new model, learning is individualized. Learner is the center of education because we emphasize the core. The focus is on learner, on student. They have individualized program. You see that to fit our students' need, diverse need. The learning is a self-learning process. It is also a self-actualizing process. It means that self-regulated, emphasize on self-initiative. The focus of learning on how to learn, not on how to gain. How to learn is a higher level. The driving force is self-rewarding, self-actualizing. And also in the new paradigm, learning is localized and globalized learning. They have multiple sources of learning within school, within classroom, and also outside school, outside local community, and also maybe in other parts of the world. This is the multiple source of learning. Networked learning, lifelong and everywhere. It means that our students can learn lifelong and everywhere. They have unlimited opportunity to learn. It's a world-class learning. Why? Why world-class? Because our students learn from the expert, the best expert, student or teacher in different parts of the world, and also learn from the world-class material. You see that they can achieve local and international outlook. You see, this is the new paradigm. May I explain a little bit more about individualization in learning, such that you understand what we are talking about. Individualization aims to maximize human motivation. In learning, we emphasize on human motivation, human potential, and human creativity of the individual in learning. I think this is the core part of the learning. You see that. For example, We have tailor-made education program to meet the individual needs. Individualized learning target, method, progress schedule by the web-based technology. More flexible curriculum, diverse course offering for students to select those meet their diverse needs. Self-managing, self-regulated learning as the major approach to student-centered curriculum design. Mobile learning, e-learning as one of the major tools to optimizing the learning opportunity for students. You see that there are many examples. I think your school and also your education institution, many of them already launched different type of initiative to promote individualization in learning. I just summarized some of them. Localization in learning to maximize the local resources, community involvement, partnership, cultural relevance in learning. And also there are many examples too. Community involvement, local field experience, experiential learning, service learning, mentoring, cultural and local relevance of learning experience, local level of learning. You see that there are many possibilities for localization in learning. Globalization in learning, maximize the global networking, international support, world-class resources in learning. I think many countries have already launched different types of initiatives to promote globalization, internationalization in learning. Web-based learning across boundaries, international visit, level of learning across culture, across country, international partnership, they become popular. Exchange through video conferencing, world-class learning material, content by mobile technology and web-based technology. There are many examples. Yes, I understand my time coming to the end. Now this is a picture showing our student have the global mindset. You see that networked, with the world, different type of resources for learning. They can achieve global horizons, local concern, and individual creativity. Such that they can be sustainably effective in multiple development and against disruption. You like this picture? Okay. The fifth one, technological breakthrough as driver for designing the future of learning system. Yeah. This is also my picture. Okay. Yeah. With the technology, information technology and artificial intelligence, we can redefine learning in terms of boundary and nature, in terms of composition of player, not only within school, outside school, not only within Hong Kong or Dubai, but also outside a different country, and also in terms of format, speed, and nature of communication and feedback, and also in terms of the knowledge generation, management, sharing, and utilization. The concept, completely different. You see that, such that we define the learning, such that we have paradigm shift in learning, and also create unlimited opportunity for learning and development. Now, what implication? We can use the technology to build up ecosystem for new e-learning. Let me illustrate the difference. We have two types of e-learning, traditional type and the new type. The traditional e-learning depending on delivery technology. We just deliver something. Teacher and content-based, use the e-text or material, site-bounded, even though they use the e-learning, but mainly site-bounded. The purpose on knowledge delivery. The effort of mainly the effort of individual institutions are piecemeal. Different institutions doing different set of e-learning. Lack of critical mass. If you want to have a high-level e-learning, we need critical mass. But unfortunately, in the traditional approach, always lack of critical mass. But in the new e-learning, we emphasize on student initiative. You see that the student-centered component, the student self-initiative becomes more and more important. Use the technology is interactive AI technology. Create not only e-material, e-textbook, but a e-learning ecosystem, a whole system, including textbook, material, all kind of package, and also supported by technology. The learning is globalized, localized, and individualized. They help students to achieve CMI. The learning process is exploring, creating, and interacting, We encourage global-local collaboration to create critical mass in establishing this kind of ecosystem for e-learning, such that we have systemic change in culture and technology of education. Not only technology, but also change in culture. The mindset, the thinking, the model about learning. There are fundamental change. Okay, the last one, the multiple function of school education. In an era of multiple development against the multiple disruption as a driver of future education, it means that we need to pay attention to the multiple functioning of school education. Let me use a table to illustrate there are multiple functions of education to serve not only technology function, economic function, social function, but also political, cultural, and learning function. Not only to serve individual students, but also school, the whole community, the society, and also the international community. Let me use an example. For example, the technological function. Now you can see that education have technological function. Develop the technological intelligence and skills, technology literacy, STEM thinking. School as a place for technology imagination, a center for technology transfer. At the community level, development of intelligence and smart city, infrastructure and capacity with innovative technology, such as AI, big data. And at the international level, we have technological globalization, pervasive application of innovative knowledge and technology. Because the time is short, I don't go through this table. If you are interested to understand the multiple function of education, please find a time to look at my book or look at this table. Maybe you have more understanding about it. It means that in the future education, we need to develop multiple function and also at multiple level. Don't limit ourselves to economic or technological, but also in other domains. When we conduct our education, we focus not only individual students. Of course, we need to focus on, we need to put a strong emphasis on development of our individual student. But at the same time, we pay attention to other levels. I think this is the point I would like to point out that if we want to meet the global and local challenge. Okay, I finished the major part of my lecture. I take this opportunity to raise two questions. Hopefully, I can have the response from you after listening my lecture. Now, as we mentioned, there are huge impact from global trend, competition, multiple disruption. A lot of impact and challenge. And also, after 20 years from now, it means that your student graduate from school, from university. My question is that, do you worry if your student will be replaced, unable to find a suitable job, and have to be retired when they are only at 30s or 40s? Why or why not? This is the first question. Whether our students have sustainable future. This is the question, you know. The second question, as educator, what can you do to ensure that your student and the society have the capacity and ability for sustainable development in the future? What kind of quality of our student and also the society, such that we can achieve sustainable development in the future? Yeah, you like to respond or answer these questions? Yeah.
Thank you actually for presenting the two questions. I'm sure that the audience share me that it was actually a very captivating and engaging presentation. The first part was very informative. So Professor Cheng is actually wants to hear from the audience, and you can raise your and provide your answers on the chat area. Could you please actually answer the first and the second question, or you can choose one of them? The first question, as you can see on the screen, do you worry if your students will be replaced or unable to find a suitable job and have to be retired by the age of 30s or 40s because of the global change, the interruption and the rapid change that is happening? And we can witness now the pandemic, which is a big evidence that before and post-pandemic, of course, the type of learning will be different. And from a decision-maker perspective and leadership perspective, we have to rethink and reimagine the education in response to this pandemic. And the second question is, as educators, what can you do to ensure that your students and the society have the capacity and abilities for sustainable development in the future? We welcome your answers, please. We can give you a few minutes to answer one or the two questions, and then we'll have comments from the professor on your answers. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Any answer? If you
actually, they are big questions, and they need a lot of thinking to answer these questions.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe whether the participant or the audience have any question to me, and then I can discuss with them. Any?
Yes, Professor, there is a few questions that we have posted in our chat. You can look at them.
Yes, future plan. Yeah, the first question, what are the future plans to develop education in light of distant learning from leadership. This learning, okay. Yes. What are the future plans to develop in life? Distant learning, it means that use the online, right?
Yes.
Yeah, use the online. I think, according to my observation, the trend for using online will become stronger and stronger particularly after, during or after the pandemic. You know, we can't do the face-to-face so much. You see that we need to use the distant online learning, distant learning method. I think the educator or policymaker, they plan to have the mix. On one hand, they maintain some face-to-face learning or education. On the other hand, to promote online learning more and more, such that this become a mix. Let the student and teacher make use the existing technology, you know, such that they can remain the learning and teaching. This is the direction. Mix approach. This is one way. I think if we use only distant learning, maybe some important element we can't do it online so much. You know, we need to explore further on this. This is my preliminary response. Yeah. Any other question?
Actually, sir, you agree with me that the first question that you raised align with the question that was also raised by the audience. Now, with the distance learning, of course, many capabilities and competences as the technological or the individualized learning that we aim for is going to be enhanced and highlighted if we go through the online learning experience. And we saw actually a big difference in students and teachers and leaders' competences during the last 3 and 4 months while experiencing the online learning. Now, if I move actually to the second question, the role of a teacher is changing nowadays. How can a teacher support this new role? How do we help the students discover their passion in this pandemic era?
Yes, a very important question. You know, related to the pedagogical change.
Yes.
Yeah. Previously, teacher assumed I have the syllabus. I have the curriculum with the content, and then just deliver the content to student, from teacher to student, from you see that to student. This is the core part of the traditional teaching and learning. If our teacher do not change the mindset, this traditional learning or teaching is very limited. The benefit is very limited. Difficult to facilitate our students to develop creativity, multiple thinking. Very difficult. If we do not focus on student as the core, as the core part of education, you see that. Only we can maximize students' motivation. If student can have deeper participation in learning. For example, I point out the action learning. According to my experience, the student the student, if they do the project, action project, problem-based project, you see that they can be more involved in the learning process. The motivation is much higher than just receive the knowledge from teacher. I think this is the difference. If our teacher can change the mindset, and then they can change the role as a teacher. Because if they play the role as the facilitator, the focus will be on the student side. This is important. You see that. If they play the role as the instructor, they just give the knowledge to student. You know, they ignore the student motivation. They may ignore student motivation. You know, the student development may be very limited on the technical side, on the skill side, not on the mindset, not on the thinking model. You know, this is the gap behind. You see that. Yeah. Okay. There's some response on the screen.
Yes, we can see actually many.
But I can't see the word. Too small.
Too small.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read it for you?
Yeah.
Do you want
Okay.
me to pick? I'll pick one of these or two, actually, a couple of these answers. Again, do you worry if your students will be replaced or unable to find a suitable job in the future? No, because there are many jobs and it's not compulsory to do the same job about what we educate. This is actually one of the answers. And one of the answers actually is about, yes, I worry that they are not developing enough flexibility in their thinking and application of their knowledge and abilities. Now, yes. So these are like a couple of answers. Professor, we have actually around 500 audience and maybe more. That was actually up to the time that I was looking at the audience. So I'm sure that everybody is joining me in thinking that it is a very rich and thorough presentation that you have just presented to us. The second question, as educators, what can you do to ensure that your students and the society have the capacity and abilities for sustainable development in the future? And again, I'll pick two answers. By ensuring we enhance the students' 21st century skills and ensure technology is at the forefront. I'm sure that the UAE is very advanced in this area, in the technology, and you know, we've been very futuristic in our planning for smart learning projects 10 to 20 years ago. We need to keep ourselves updated to suit the needs for developing skills in the students. So what do you think? What are your remarks on the comments of the audience there?
Yeah, I think the answer and the response are excellent. You know, very thoughtful. You know, about the question. You know, and the response. Yes, I think we do not have the single answer. We need these two questions just raised that. To broaden our the scope and also the discussion scope. You see that? Okay, thank you.
I don't know whether you have actually time, because we have dozens of questions from the audience, and there is a question actually about first they thank you.
I'm looking at some question coming up.
Yes.
Saw it.
We chose some of these questions.
Let me have 1 minute, 1 second to look at it.
Absolutely.
Teacher, I am grateful for this updated scenario. How do we show high-level thinking is in order in our school? What are the practical ways we can encourage more open mindset? Raise a very good question to me, to you, and to me too. Would like to explain. Yes, I think take time to make it happen. Because when we change the mindset, not only the student, but also our teacher, you know, they need to change the model, the role from previous dominating role to facilitating role. You know, previously they dominate the teaching and learning process, but now they guide, and facilitate students to think, to learn. I think using the project approach may be a good idea too, you know, because that when doing the open-end project, the students have to explore new idea, new method, and come back to discuss with teachers. You know, it means that the role of student and teacher, you know, are different from the traditional mode. The fourth one, I would like to explain for us your experience that you used it to enhance leadership, the practice day in the school, such a professional. Yes, I think that learning together may be a good idea. It means that you see that the leadership, if we want to develop our leadership, sometimes it is difficult to develop it in an isolated situation. We need to have work together with other people, other school, with teacher, with middle management, and if there are more exposure with other peer leaders, you know, maybe we can create a learning community for professionals, leaders. You see that? Okay. See less. Okay. Yeah. Now, any other important point we need to discuss again? Any? Hello.
Yes, we have actually one last question from.
Okay.
Yes. I'm grateful for this update scenarios on education. How do we ensure higher level thinking is in order in our school? What are the practical ways we can encourage more open mindsets in education post-pandemic, post the pandemic era? What are the practical actually methodologies to encourage the open mindset? And maybe you talked about the Pentagon theory. So what are the practical pedagogical approaches that might support the teachers and the instructional leaders?
Now, I do not. I'm not so familiar with the situation of your country. According to my experience in Hong Kong and the south part of Asia, I think that very important step is that open and create open opportunity for people to share, to discuss with other school, to visit other school experience, and open the school for other people to visit. This kind of exchange, this kind of learning from each other, become a culture. Once they have the culture to learn from each other, they are willing to change, to learn faster. You know, they know what they want to learn. It's much better than we point out to them, you should learn this or that. You know, it's not a good idea. I think to create an open culture, to exchange, to discuss with other principal leaders, you know, I think this is important. No matter teachers or school principal or middle leaders, open discussion is very crucial. And also open mutual visit is also important. Sharing is important. Now, sharing, it means that if we can create some theme, some opportunity for people from different schools come together to discuss what happened in their school, what they can share with other teacher and school principal. This kind of sharing, particularly at the beginning, very helpful to change the culture. Once they change the culture, they become more open to discuss with other people. They are more open to learn. I think that this is the way to promote learning. You know, I think the whole process is not a technique. The whole process is that to change the mindset, have more opportunity, open opportunity to learn, to share, to exchange. You know, they feel more confident, more safe, you know, when they discuss with other people. You see that? Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know whether helpful or not. You know,
it's very helpful,
just to share my experience and yes. Observation.
Extremely helpful, extremely helpful. I'm sure also that we have actually covered a wide range of categories, and you've discussed many viewpoints from your research perspective. Do you have any final recommendations or remarks that you would like to share with us based on the research and the rich research that you've made across different countries, Professor?
Okay, maybe I take this opportunity to have a concluding remark, and then such that now, in today's discussion, we talk about the crucial influencing factors, you know, creating this different kind of impact and challenge, and then we need to have reform, at least to change something, you know. There are four aspects of reform we can consider. The first thing is that to develop CMI, yes, let me. The first, to develop CMI and creativity as cutting edge. It means that in the curriculum, no matter in the system level curriculum or the school-based curriculum, we need to find our opportunity to discuss, to learn, to develop the CMI and creativity, you know, for our students. Learn for what? You know, the learning process to achieve what kind of ability, you know, this is the first thing. We need to think about it. In school-based curriculum, if you are a school leader, we need to think about the future of our school, whether you would promote the CMI and creativity as the cutting edge of your school. It means that your graduate from your school will be have that kind of high level capacity and ability. The second one, to make a paradigm shift in learning. As we discussed it in the question from the questions, you know, if we do not change the mindset, if we do not change the old theory, it's very difficult for us to expand the opportunity to learn, you know. This is the reason why we make paradigm shift in learning. And the third one, as a concluding remark, part of the concluding remark is to use the IT and AI. This area will expand very fast. If we can use the technology at the system level, particularly, and also the school level, to redefine and unbound learning, such that we can build up ecosystem for new learning. You know, use the technology to save our time, to make something possible, you know. And the fourth one, we decide the multiple function of education at different level. At the system level, we need to think about whether our education can have a balance on the key aspect of education and the society. At the school level, we also need to plan our curriculum in our school, whether our school can serve multiple functions. for the community, for the society, for the international community, and also individual too. You see that. This is my concluding remark, and I hope from this today's discussion we can share something. I hope our school leader and teacher can successfully transform the learning system, change the system, change the culture, and facilitate our students to develop their multiple thinking. You know, to focus on our student, imagination, and also creativity for the beautiful future. This is a dream. I think that we can achieve it step by step. You know, and also if we understand the bigger picture, maybe we have the roadmap to achieve our success, you know, in the future. Yes, hopefully you enjoy it. This is my reference. If you like to find a time to look at some chapters, maybe you find some idea about the futures of education. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you.
What an impressive conclusion, actually. You ended and concluded with let's dream the dream. Let's dream the big dream that the future for our students will be so fruitful and will be much better for everyone in this world. By the end, actually, of this lecture, I would like to thank you for your inspiring presentation. Your invaluable contribution was very essentially important to us. Your ability to present this subject in such an interesting way produced one of the most memorable lectures in our MOE events, sir. I, myself, on behalf of the Teacher Training Institute in the Ministry of Education, UAE, appreciate the time and effort you took to share your thorough experience and your expertise. We hope that you can join us again, inshallah, in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
you, Professor.
Yeah, it's a very good experience to me. Okay, thank you. Yes, yeah, the end.
Thank you, everyone, for attending. The attendance link is in the chat. Thank you.